Ladies and gentlemen, Washington, D.C. is on fire tonight. Not literally, but politically, it's a 5-alarm blaze because just hours ago, President Donald J. Trump detonated a 25% tariff nuke on India, a move that is set to haul in billions for American workers and absolutely humiliate the globalist crowd that's been selling us out for decades. And while President Trump is taking names and bringing the fight to foreign trade cheats, Democrats inside the Capitol are collapsing, literally and figuratively at the same time. I mean, we watched it happen. Elizabeth Warren, she hit the Senate floor so hard that the internet renamed the moment Wounded Knee. If that wasn't embarrassing enough, Cory Booker went full theater kid in an empty chamber, screaming at invisible enemies, desperate for attention. Meanwhile, Trump's racking up win after win with the American people. But here's a question, folks. Why now? Why are Democrats melting down just as Trump is proving them wrong about everything? Like, what are they so terrified of as this tariff hammer comes crashing down on India's decades of predatory trade? And more importantly, what does this mean for your wallet, for your job, and for America's future? Now, I'm telling you right now, what unfolded in the Capitol today, it's going to be remembered for years. It's chaos, it's humiliation, it is desperation on full display, and I got the receipts. So I want to go ahead and break down every second of this firestorm. President Trump's bombshell move that's making Democrats squirm, Elizabeth Warren's viral tumble that has the whole country asking if these people are even fit to lead, should there be term limits, and Booker's screaming meltdown that proves the party is pretty much eating itself alive. Ladies and gentlemen, what just unfolded in Washington today, it wasn't just politics as usual, it was political Armageddon. Now, if you've ever wondered about what it would look like if one man stood up to decades of foreign exploitation and a do-nothing political class cracked under pressure, well, you just saw it happen live today. Well, by the way, if you appreciate the daily news updates, hit the like button and subscribe. Appreciate you guys. So the Capitol wasn't just buzzing, it was burning with chaos. Now, on the one side of this great divide, you got President Donald J. Trump walks into the Oval Office, cool, calculated, determined, carrying the weight of every American worker who's been ripped off by bad trade deals. But on the other side, the Democrat machine, aging, stumbling, screaming, and unraveling on camera for the entire nation to see. It kind of felt like two different countries under one roof. Like one America where leadership means action, courage, and a relentless fight for fairness. And then another America where politicians cling to their seats, they can't stand on their own 2 feet, and they cannot face the reality that Trump is doing in months what they failed to do in decades. That's the reality of today. And so this wasn't just political theater. This was a battle line that was drawn in real time. So do we stay weak? Do we stay weak, or do we let foreign nations cheat our workers and laugh all the way to the bank? Or do we fight back? Do we finally stand up and say, hey, look, no more free ride on America's back? Well, this morning, President Trump answered that very question for every single one of us. And the move that he made sent shockwaves not just through the Capitol, but through across the globe. Because for the first time in years, a U.S. president didn't just talk tough about India's unfair trade game. He dropped a hammer that no one saw coming. And while President Trump was rewriting the rules of global trade, Democrats, they weren't celebrating American strength. They were panicking, melting down, and literally falling apart. Let me break down what happened, because this was a turning point that you need to really understand. So this morning, President Donald J. Trump unleashed what can only be described as an economic shockwave, a 25% tariff plus heavy penalties on Indian imports effective August 1st. And folks, this is not just a number on a page. This is a $21 billion annual transfer of power from a foreign government that's been gaming us for decades back to you, the American people. Can I get an amen for that? Now, let's get real here. For years, India has been playing the United States like a fiddle. They really have. India has been playing the United States like a fiddle. They've slapped some of the highest tariffs in the world on our goods. They've set up these ridiculous, impossible trade barriers that shut American businesses out. And what did our old leadership do about it? Nothing. They didn't do anything. Democrats, globalists, the whole DC swamp, they just let it happen. They handed out sweetheart deals, bowed down to foreign interests, and they acted like America's economy was some kind of a open buffet for every other country to feast on, while our workers got the scraps. And to make it all worse, India has been pouring billions of dollars, most of which they earn from us, into Russia's economy, buying up Russian oil and military hardware, even as Moscow wages a brutal war in the Ukraine. So while Trump has been working around the clock to isolate Russia and push for peace in Eastern Europe, India just kept cutting deals that undermine that very effort. So today, President Trump stood up and he said, look, enough. If you want to exploit American markets while funding Putin's war machine, there's a price to pay, and it's 25% plus penalties. Wow, that's kind of chunky. This isn't reckless. This isn't dangerous. This is fair. This is strong. And this is America finally putting itself first again. Because for decades, Democrat politicians, they promised that they were going to fight for you. But when it came to standing up to countries that were, gutting our industries, they went quiet, they went weak, and they went missing. Trump didn't. He's putting in billions that essentially will rebuild American factories, strengthen American supply chains, and put American paychecks ahead of foreign profits. And so for the first time in a long time, we actually have a president who won't let anyone, not India, not China, not any so-called ally, just walk all over us again. So I want to go ahead and ask you all right now, where were the Democrats while India was draining us dry? Silent, nowhere to be found. And where are they now? Where are they today? Melting down, losing their composure because Trump just exposed how weak and ineffective they've all been all along. And you think that humiliation ended there? No, it really didn't. It's kind of almost just the beginning. Because while Trump was hammering foreign trade cheats and defending American workers, the Democrat side of the Capitol turned into an absolute train wreck. So one of their leading ladies made headlines for all the wrong reasons, and the footage is blowing up the internet. Now, so many people tell me the same thing. Ron, I feel like nobody's helping me. This is why I partner with Chapter, guys. They're in your corner. Paulette Diener, she said they solved a year-long Medicare nightmare for her son, saving him money and getting him the right care. And Barbara B., she said Chapter is great. Please look into it. You won't regret it. Guys, when people feel lost, Chapter steps in with clarity, compassion, and real results. So give our friends at Chapter a call and see how much money you can save. See if you can't qualify for even more benefits. They're constantly helping people, and it's really a blessing for our community, and it's a free service. Give our friends a call right now. See what is in store for you. Phone number is down below, 909-563-8279, or hit them up on the web at askchapter.org/Ron. Tell them that Ron said hello, and I'm pretty sure that they know me. This is your chance to finally have somebody in your corner fighting for you. Now, folks, you would think by now, after watching President Trump deliver a masterstroke of strategy, a tariff nuke designed to bring billions of dollars back to American workers, the Democrats would have a plan by now. Maybe a counter argument, maybe a policy idea, maybe anything to look like they're actually doing their job, right? Instead, what do we get? One of their party's leading figures, Elizabeth Warren, literally crashing to the floor during a Senate vote. Now picture this, guys. The Senate is dead quiet in there. Votes are being cast. Warren tries to casually lean against the desk, probably, trying to look like she's cool, calm, collected leader for the left. But that's not what America saw. She buckles. She loses her footing. She goes down hard in full view of her colleagues and all the cameras. Guys, the clip went viral in minutes. Social media dubbed it Wounded Knee. And folks, the memes were brutal. They had the have me a beer awkward moment from a few years ago. Yeah, that's back on loop right alongside with today's spill. People are asking if she's fit to lead, if she's too old, if this is the standard for Senate leadership in 2025. Now, sure, some are going to say accidents happen, but this isn't just about one fault. This is about what it represents, because Elizabeth Warren has been in Washington for decades, just like Nancy Pelosi and just like Mitch McConnell, just like half the Senate. These are career politicians. They're clinging to power so long that they can literally no longer stand on their own 2 feet anymore. And think about the timing. While President Trump is standing tall against foreign predators, fighting for American jobs, Democrat leaders can't even stand at all. So here's the real tension. Guys, if they can't stand steady on a Senate floor, how can they stand strong against India's economic warfare, against China's manipulation, against Russia's aggression? I mean, we got lawmakers making trillion-dollar decisions while leaning on furniture to stand upright. Is that who you really want deciding the fate of your kids, your wallet, your bank account, your country? Or do you want leaders with stamina, with guts, with results? Elizabeth Warren's fall today wasn't just a stumble. It was a metaphor for an entire party that's collapsing under the weight of decades of bad leadership and zero accountability. And just when you thought Democrats couldn't embarrass themselves anymore, Cory Booker, she took the stage and turned the Senate floor into a full-blown theater audition. Now, folks, brace yourselves here, okay? Because what happened next is probably one of the most surreal scenes I've ever witnessed in Washington politics. So Cory Booker storms into the Senate floor and launches into a full-blown tirade meltdown. Now, I'm not talking about a strong, reasoned speech. I'm talking about yelling, screaming, finger pointing, dramatic pauses, waving his arms like he's auditioning for Hamilton on Broadway. Something like that, right? You could almost hear the orchestra in the background, except there was no audience. That's right, guys. The chamber was empty. Nobody was even there. So what was Cory screaming at? Empty chairs, invisible enemies, maybe the ghosts of the Democratic credibility past? I don't know. Because the people that Cory was supposedly rallying weren't even there to hear the speech, to hear the rally cries. So what was the big message from Cory? Accusing President Trump of being authoritarian, claiming federal grants are being handed out only to states Trump likes, ranting about businesses, law firms, late night TV shows. It was a stream of hysteria, factually wrong on half the points, desperate to make headlines while delivering no solutions. So here's the irony. So Cory Booker even turned the fire on their own party, saying Democrats have no backbone, that they're complicit, that they let Trump call the shots. And for once, maybe he was actually telling the truth, but he turned it into an over-the-top performance that pretty much left everyone asking the same question. Is this leadership or is this a tantrum? Because while President Trump was landing a massive win for American workers this morning, Cory Booker was screaming at the walls, trying to convince the country that strength is bad, trying to convince the country that fighting for America is authoritarian, that maybe we should just all go back to being weak and submissive to foreign powers. And this, folks, this is the contrast that should make every voter pissed off. Now, on one side, you got President Trump bringing billions home, growing the economy, proving his critics wrong. But on the other side, a party so broken that it's falling over, yelling into empty space and blaming everybody but themselves for decades of failure. Look, truth is, this wasn't just a bad day for Democrats. It was a glimpse into what their leadership has become, a circus act, a theater performance, empty gestures in an empty room. And if you think that this was the end of today's Capitol chaos, think again, guys, because what came next completely exposed every lie that Democrats have been telling you about Trump's America First plan for the state of our economy. So here's where everything flips upside down for the Democrats. You remember how they spent years telling you that Trump's tariffs were going to wreck the economy, that they would send prices skyrocketing, they were going to kill jobs and drive investors away? Well, this morning, the official Q2 2025 GDP numbers dropped. And guess what? The economy is growing at 3%, blowing past every so-called expert projection of 2.4%. Inflation holding steady at just 2%. The stock market surging, jobs coming back home, tariffs generating tens of billions of dollars a month, money that is being used to rebuild America instead of padding the pockets of foreign governments. Now, folks, it doesn't get any more clear than this. Trump was right. They were wrong. Every doom and gloom prediction, every fake news headline, every Democrat speech claiming that he was going to destroy the economy, all of it just went up in flames today. And what do they have to say about it? Nothing. They're too busy falling over into the Senate, or they're screaming at empty rooms to admit that President Trump is delivering for you while they've been selling you out for decades. But this kind of brings us to the bigger picture. This is the choice that every American has to make after watching today's chaos unfold. Today's Capitol circus, it put two visions of America on full display. So on the one side, you got President Trump, a fighter who doesn't back down, who takes the hits from global powers like India, and then he hits back harder, who's making our economy boom and finally putting American workers first, right? But on the other side, of course, you got a Democratic Party that's literally collapsing physically on the Senate floor, emotionally in these screaming rants, politically in a total disarray. They have had power for decades, but when it comes time to lead, they can't even stand up straight. They can't win a trade fight, and they can't keep this country from being cheated by foreign powers. So you got to ask yourself this: which America do you want to live in? The one where your leaders fight for you, or the one where they fall apart on live TV while the world laughs at them? And I'm gonna tell you something right now. The firestorm that you saw in the Capitol today is not going out anytime soon. The Democrats are terrified because Trump's plan is working, because their grip on power is slipping, because the American people are waking up. And if you thought today was bad for them, oh, just wait, because the next moves Trump's about to make on trade, on immigration, on our economy, they're going to shake this town even harder than today's Capitol inferno. So do not go anywhere, because YouTube thinks it knows exactly which video you're going to want to see next. And trust me, you're going to love it. So click the video popping up on your screen right now, because it's coming up next and it's even bigger than this one. I'll see you guys on the other side.